Have you ever found yourself, caught in that feeling where life feels like it's just speeding by and you're always chasing something, but there never seems to be quite enough time? It's a really common feeling, I think. Well, today we're diving deep into a fascinating, really ancient story from the Buddhist tradition. It's called the Patipūjikāvatthu.
Which translates roughly as the story of Patipūjikā.
Exactly. And it's this incredible narrative that, well, it jumps across realms through time, and it really makes you rethink how we spend our days.
And this story, it comes from the Patipūjikāvatthu, which is an old commentary. It's a really rich source for understanding things like rebirth, the nature of time itself, and how much our actions actually matter.
So our mission today is basically to unpack the story. On the surface, it seems simple enough, but wow, it holds some surprisingly deep insights.
Yeah, about things like impermanence, the sheer scale of cosmic time.
And that very human tendency we have towards, well, heedlessness, not paying attention.
Right.
We'll see how one single life lived with this incredible focus can bridge huge distances and reveal some pretty universal truths. Okay, let's get into it. So the story kicks off in a pretty unexpected place. We're not on Earth.
No, we start in Tavatisa heaven, a celestial realm, quite vibrant.
And we meet this divine being, Malabari Devaputta. He's surrounded by 1,000 celestial nymphs. Is that right?
Devaditaros.
That's the term, yes, Devaditaros. And you have to picture the scene. It's idyllic.
Okay.
He's in this beautiful park, and his companions, these nymphs, they're doing this lovely ritual. About 500 of them are, like, shaking a tree to gather flowers.
Gently, I imagine.
Oh, absolutely. Very gracefully. And the other 500 are busy decorating Malabari Devaputta with those flowers. It paints this picture of, celestial beauty, total leisure, timelessness almost.
Okay, it sounds lovely, but then, boom, things change fast.
Very fast. Right in the middle of this decorating, one of the goddesses, she just falls from a tree branch and dies.
Just like that. Just like that. The text says her body extinguished like a lamp flame.
Wow. So abrupt. Even in heaven, what does that suddenness really tell us?
Well, I think that abruptness, that unceremonious death, even in a place like Tavatisa heaven, it really slams home the principle of impermanence,
Yeah,
Micah.
it applies everywhere.
Everywhere. Even divine beings aren't immune.
Yeah.
And this event, this sudden death, it really sets the stage for what comes next. This goddess is about to be reborn, but somewhere vastly different.
Right. And that place is Earth. Savati, specifically. She's born into a family there. And here's the kicker. Right from birth, she has this amazing ability. She's Jatisara. She remembers her past life.
Yes, and not just vaguely. She remembers specifically being in Tavatisa, being the wife of Malabari Devaputta. It's incredibly vivid for her.
That's amazing. So how does that shape her life on Earth?
Well, it becomes her everything.
Okay.
As she grows up, that memory is her driving force. She starts performing acts of worship, using things like fragrances and garlands.
The kinds of things associated with heaven, maybe?
Possibly, yes. And crucially, with every act, she makes this explicit intention. May this deed be the cause of my rebirth with my heavenly husband.
Wow. That's intense focus, and it doesn't stop, even when she gets married on Earth.
Nope. Continues right on. Even after marrying into an earthly family at 16, she keeps making offerings to the monks. The text mentions specific types, like salakapada.
Which are like meal invitations.
Exactly. And pakikapada, food for certain festival days, and vasavasika offerings for the rainy season retreat. And every single time, every single time she declares, may this bring me back to my husband. Malabari Devaputta, that is.
Her heavenly husband. That singular focus is incredible. It even gave her name, right?
It did. The monks noticed this constant yearning, this desire for her husband. The text is quite clear. She constantly desired her husband, and they named her Patipūjikā. It really highlights that unique dedication.
And it wasn't just like formal religious stuff. She was active in the community, too.
Oh, absolutely. Very diligent, always tending the assembly hall, making sure there was drinking water for the monks, arranging the seats perfectly. People were apparently so impressed that they'd bring their own offerings to her and ask her to present them, like she was a conduit for merit.
So all this devotion, all this service, did it, have a measurable effect, according to the story?
It did, actually. The source says that through all these actions, with basically every step she took in service, she accumulated 56 wholesome qualities.
56. That sounds like a specific measure of merit, good karma.
Exactly. It quantifies the profound impact of her consistent actions, driven by that incredibly clear intention.
And meanwhile, earthly life goes on. She becomes a mother.
Yes, she has a son, and then later, as he starts walking, she has 4 more sons. So 5 sons in total.
So a full life on Earth. Okay, then what happens?
Well, after this life filled with good deeds, always with that underlying yearning, Patipūjikā gets sick one evening. Suddenly, and she dies.
Oh, just like her fall from the tree branch in a way. Sudden.
Yes, quite sudden. It happened right after her daily routine, giving gifts, making offerings, listening to the Dharma teaching, observing her precepts.
And then, this is the really wild part, isn't it?
This is the mind-bending part. She is instantly reborn, right back in Tavatisa heaven.
Instantly.
Instantly. Right back with Malabari Devaputta, her heavenly husband. Picking up, the text implies, right where she left off, decorating him with flowers.
Get out. So she falls, lives a whole 100-year human life, has 5 kids, serves the monks constantly, dies, and boom, she's back, and hardly any time has passed for him.
Precisely. Imagine his perspective. The other goddesses are still there, still decorating him. He apparently barely noticed she was gone.
So what does he say?
He just casually asks her. Something like, hey, I didn't see you this morning. Where'd you go?
Seriously, after her whole life journey.
Yes. It highlights the incredible difference in their perception of time.
So what's her reply? This must blow his mind.
It does. She says quite simply, I died, master.
Just like that.
He's stunned, asks her to clarify, you died. And she confirms it. Then she tells him the whole story.
Wow.
Reborn in Savatthi, lived about 100 years, got married, had 5 sons, did all these good deeds, always yearning for him. And now, here she is, back at his side.
Okay. His reaction must be something else.
He's absolutely floored. He asks about human lifespan, only 100 years. He can't believe how short it is.
Because for him, it was like, what, a few hours?
Less than a day. We'll get to the exact math, but yeah, incredibly brief for him.
So then he asks the crucial question.
Yes. He asks, okay, if life is that short for humans, do they spend it wisely? Are they diligent? Or are they heedless?
And Patipūjikā's answer, this is the part that really hits home, I think.
It really is. It's stark. She tells him, what do you say, master? Humans are constantly heedless. It's like they think they're immortal, like beings with countless lifespans.
Ouch. That's quite an indictment.
It is. And it profoundly affects Malabari Devaputta. He feels this sudden spiritual urgency, this savega. He thinks, my goodness, humans have only 100 years and they just sleepwalk through it. When will they ever get free from suffering?
It's a wake-up call for him, triggered by her story.
A huge wake-up call. And the text gives us the scale to understand his shock.
Okay, hit us with the numbers.
Get this. 1 human century, 100 years, is equivalent to just 1 day and night for the gods in Tavatisa heaven.
1 day, her entire life.
1 single day. And their average lifespan, 1,000 divine years.
Which translates to?
36 million human years.
36 million, okay. My brain just sort of short-circuited.
Right. It's mind-boggling. So Patipūjikā's whole century on Earth, raising a family, doing all those deeds, for her husband, it was literally just a fleeting moment, less than 1 Tavatisa day.
That perspective is just, wow. No wonder he was shocked by human heedlessness. If you only had the equivalent of a few hours, you wouldn't waste it, right?
That's exactly the realization he has. Complacency, heedlessness. It seems incredibly inappropriate, almost insane, given how short human life is from that cosmic viewpoint.
Okay, so back on Earth. The next day dawns. Patipūjikā isn't there.
Right. The monks arrive at the assembly hall. It's untended. No water set out. Seats aren't arranged. They notice her absence immediately.
And when they find out she died the previous evening?
There are different reactions. The ordinary monks, the ones still training, they're really upset. They weep, remembering her kindness, all her help.
Understandable.
But the attained monks, the kisas, those who've achieved liberation, their reaction is different. They experience that same deep spiritual urgency, that sadvega, reflecting on impermanence.
Seeing the bigger picture.
Exactly. And they go straight to the Buddha. They want to know, where was Patipūjikā reborn?
And the Buddha tells them.
He confirms she was reborn with her husband.
Which the monks probably assume means her earthly husband.
That's what they think initially, yes.
Yep.
But the Buddha corrects them. No, monks. She wasn't yearning for that husband. He clarifies. In Tavatisa heaven, her husband is Malabari Devaputta. She fell from his flower decorating place, lived her life, and now she's reborn right back there with him.
That must have been another shock for the monks, confirming the power of her intention across realms.
Absolutely. It really drives home the continuity of consciousness and the force of a focused mind. The monks are just astonished. They say, "Alas, Lord, how short life is. She was serving us just yesterday morning, and by evening she's gone."
So the Buddha sees this moment, this collective reflection on life's brevity. How does he use it to teach them something deeper?
He takes that feeling, that lament about life's shortness, and he drives home a profound point. He says, yes, the life of beings is short. And precisely because it's so short,
Yes.
the destroyer, which means death, takes these beings while they're still unfulfilled by pleasures, both material and defiling pleasures, takes them while they're weeping and lamenting, brings them under his sway.
Still unfulfilled, weeping and lamenting. That's a powerful image. What does unfulfilled really mean here?
Well, the Buddha illustrates it with a really vivid verse from the Dhammapada. Maybe we can break it down.
Please, what's the verse?
It goes, Bufani heva pasinanta, bayasata manasa, nara atitayeva kumesu antako kurute vasa.
Okay, let's take that piece by piece. Bufani heva pashinanta.
That means like one gathering flowers. But again, it's metaphorical.
Not literal flowers.
No, it refers to gathering sensual pleasures. Things related to ourselves or possessions, like a garland maker obsessively picking all the different flowers in a garden, constantly collecting.
Got it. Next part. By Sattamanasanado.
This describes the person doing the gathering. Vyasabanasa means having an attached mind, a mind that's tangled up, bound by craving.
Craving for what they don't have.
Yes, and greed for what they do have.
Yeah.
The mind is just completely caught up in this cycle of wanting and holding.
Okay. And Tatitiyava Kamesus?
Still unsatiated by pleasures. Atita means unsatiated. Kamesu refers to those sensual pleasures. So, despite all the gathering, all the acquiring, enjoying, even hoarding, they're never satisfied. There's always this underlying lack, this hunger.
A bit like drinking salt water, maybe. Never quenches the thirst.
That's a great analogy.
Exactly.
And the final line wraps it all up. Antako kurute vasa.
Yes. This is the punchline, if you will. Antako is the end maker, the destroyer, death. Kude vasai means brings under its control, takes power over.
So death comes and takes this person who's still frantically gathering, still attached, still unsatisfied, still weeping and lamenting because they haven't had enough or they're losing what they have.
Precisely. That's the profound implication. Living a life driven by this endless, unfulfilled desire means being overtaken by death while still completely entangled in that state of dissatisfaction.
That's sobering. But the story ends on a positive note, right? In terms of the teaching's impact. Oh, absolutely. The source makes a point of saying that after the Buddha gave this discourse, connecting Patipūjikā's story to this verse, many people in the audience attained significant spiritual breakthroughs.
Like stream entry?
Yes, stream entry and other fruits. And it says the teaching was highly beneficial for the general public, too. It really resonated.
So pulling it all together, what are the big takeaways for us listening today? Patipūjikā's story is quite something.
It really is. I mean, first, it's this incredible cosmic journey that just collapses our normal sense of time. It forces us to see how incredibly fleeting our human lifespan is in the grand scheme.
That 100 years equals 1 day comparison.
Yeah, that
sticks with you.
Definitely. And second, it hammers home the power of our intentions and actions. Her focused yearning literally shaped her rebirth across realms. What we do, what we intend, it echoes.
And that contrast in lifespans, it really does feel like an urgent call to wake up, doesn't it? Not to be heedless.
Exactly. It reframes our precious, very brief time here.
And that image the Buddha uses, the flower gatherer, constantly collecting sensual pleasures, always attached, never satisfied, right up until the end.
Yeah, it's a bit unsettling, isn't it? It really challenges us to look at what we are gathering in our own lives. What are our priorities? Are they leading to fulfillment or just more gathering?
So maybe the question to leave people with is something like this. If your whole life, my whole life, is really just a flash, maybe less than a day from another perspective, how does that change what you choose to focus on? What flowers you decide are worth gathering today, tomorrow?
That's a powerful question to reflect on. Does that cosmic perspective shift anything?
Yeah. The next time you feel caught in the rush, maybe just pause. Think about Patipūjikā. Are you living aware of how short this is? Or are you, maybe, living like the Devaputta initially thought humans did?
Constantly heedless, as if they were immortal.
Exactly. Definitely something to mull over. Until our next deep dive.